What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 32 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin. I'm coming to you live from my kitchen. And before I get into today's segment, I want to say Happy Veterans Day and thank you to all of our men and women who have fought and served this country. So now I'm going to get into week 9 of the NFL season. Good week of football yet again. The NFL never disappoints. So let's get into the Thursday night game between the Packers and the 49ers. The Packers won 34-17. This is something I expected them to do because the Niners, all of their team is pretty much practice squad players. A lot of their starters are on IR. So this went exactly how I thought it would. You know, Aaron Rodgers had 305 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. His receiver, Devontae Adams, had 10 catches, 173 yards, and 1 touchdown. This game definitely would have been more competitive if the Niners weren't injured, but since they're all injured, it is what it is. The Packers, they now move to 6-2 as the Niners fall to 4-5. So let's take a look at the Sunday games. We had an AFC South showdown between the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans won 27-25. Deshaun Watson had a good game, 281 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. His receiver, Will Fuller, had a good game, 5 catches, 100 yards, 1 touchdown. And how about Jake Luton making his first start for Gardner Minshew? He was a 6th-round pick of the 2020 draft. He had 304 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 1 rushing touchdown. I think he played fairly well for being, a 6th-round pick and having to just jump in there and face a division rival as well. DJ Chark, the Jaguars receiver, had himself a heck of a game. 7 catches, 146 yards, and 1 touchdown. Unfortunately, Jacksonville lost. Now, the Texans move to 2-6 as the Jaguars fall to 1-7. Next is the New York Giants facing the Washington football team in a battle of the NFC least. The Giants won 23-20. Daniel Jones actually had a pretty good game. He had 212 yards passing. 1 touchdown, no picks, which is surprising. Kyle Allen, the Washington football team's quarterback, he sustained a nasty leg injury, so in came Alex Smith. Alex Smith had 325 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and 3 picks. And here's a fun fact about Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes is now 4-0 against the Washington football team, but he is 1-17 versus any other team. Interesting stat, I know. Giants are 2-7, and the Washington football team is 2-6. Next was a really good game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Colts. The Ravens won 24-10. This was a big bounce-back win for the Ravens. They needed this after losing to the Steelers the other week and catching a lot of heat from the media. Lamar Jackson didn't have a great game passing, but he was able to get a rushing touchdown. Phillip Rivers did not have his best game. He did not throw a touchdown. He was picked off, and he fumbled, which led to a touchdown. The Ravens are 6-2 as the Colts are now 5-3. Next is an NFC North showdown between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions, which the Vikings won 34-20. Kirk Cousins did his job. He had 220 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, did not turn the ball over. He managed the game perfectly as Dalvin Cook yet again ran like a madman. He had 206 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. I think he had about 50 yards receiving too. This is his second week in a row where he's had over 200 scrimmage yards. I think he is the best back in the NFL as of now. And if he could stay healthy, that's his biggest problem is staying healthy. If he could stay healthy, he's definitely the best back in the NFL. So the Vikings are now 3-5 as the Lions drop to 3-5 as well. Next was the Titans versus Bears. This had potential to be a really good game. The Titans won 24-17. I believe they were up 24-3 for basically the entire game. Nick Foles had 335 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, but he did have a costly fumble that led to a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill played the game perfect. He managed the game really well. He had 159 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Derrick Henry, the running back, was shut down by the Bears defense. I kind of saw that coming because the Bears run defense is really good. He only had 68 yards rushing. But the receiver for the Titans, A.J. Brown, second-year receiver, 4 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. He looked really well. The Titans bounced back after losing 2 straight, and they're now 6-2, while the Bears are 5-4. They've lost 3 straight. Next is the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Panthers in a thriller, 33-31. Teddy Bridgewater, the Panthers quarterback, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The return of Christian McCaffrey, his running back, Panthers running back, looked awesome. He had 69 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 10 catches for 82 yards, and a touchdown as well. So it was good to see him get back out there. When he's on the field, the Panthers are a complete different team. As for the Chiefs, you had Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things. 372 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. His tight end, Travis Kelce, had 10 catches, 159 yards, and a touchdown. And his receiver, Tyreek Hill, had 9 receptions, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs improved to 8-1 as the Panthers fall to 3-6. Next is the Buffalo Bills versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Bills won 44-34. This was a game that I thought was going to be really close and a little bit more low scoring, but the Bills pretty much dominated them this entire game. Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson had 390 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 2 forced fumbles. This was Wilson's worst game of his season so far. One of the worst games of his career, honestly. You never really see 4 turnovers from Russell Wilson in a single game. But let's talk about Bills quarterback Josh Allen. He looked like the MVP everyone was talking about in the first 4 weeks of the season. He had 415 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a rushing touchdown. And he found his favorite receiver, Stephon Diggs, to have 9 catches for 118 yards. The Bills looking dominant, looking like that dominant team we saw earlier this year. They're now 7-2 as the Seahawks are 6-2. Next was the Falcons beating the Broncos 34-27. Matt Ryan had 284 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And how about the Broncos rookie receiver, Jerry Jeudy? Everyone's been waiting on him to have this big breakout game. 7 receptions, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. He was a highly rated wide receiver prospect in the draft. Hasn't really done too well this year. I mean, I know the Broncos have a lot of quarterback issues, but it was really good to finally see Jerry Jeudy get his chance and prove to everyone that, yes, he is going to be a great receiver in this league. For the next game, we have the Raiders beating the Chargers 31-26. Derek Carr played a great game, 165 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Justin Herbert, the rookie sensation, 326 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Chargers lost another heartbreaker. They had a chance to win the game, I forgot who the receiver was, but Herbert threw it to him. The guy had both feet in bounds. As he was going to the ground, though, he lost the ball, and it was incomplete with a few seconds left. It was a really heartbreaking loss. So the Raiders are now 5-3. The Chargers go to 2-6. Next is the Dolphins beating the Cardinals 34-31. This was possibly game of the week. We got to see 2 young quarterback stars in Tua Tagovailoa versus why can't I think it was Kyler Murray? I almost called him Jamal Murray from the Nuggets, but Kyler Murray. It was an epic showdown. Tua had 248 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. The Dolphins are now 2-0 under Tua as a starter. As for Kyler Murray, he had 283 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 106 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. He looked really great. The key play of that game was the Dolphins' D coming up clutch yet again, forcing a forced fumble, scooping it, and scoring like they did the other week against the Rams. The Dolphins have now won 4 straight. They're 5-3 as the Cardinals are 5-3. Look out for the Dolphins. I keep telling everyone. Next was the Steelers beating the Cowboys 24-19. This was a very close game for Dallas. I liked what I saw from them. Their 4th-string quarterback, Garrett Gilbert, had no business even starting, but he looked really great. He had 243 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Dallas defense has actually looked good the past few weeks. I know they weren't able to get a turnover or sack Big Ben, but they did pretty well. There's a lot of ticky-tacky calls in the 4th quarter that were against the Cowboys, but at this point it is what it is. You know, you can't really blame the refs. The Steelers, Big Ben, he looked really good. He had 306 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and no turnovers. All I got to say is the Steelers do look good, but I do not think that they will beat the Chiefs later on in the season if they meet in the playoffs. Next is the Bucks. The Steelers are now 8-0. They're undefeated as the Cowboys fall to 2-7. Next is the Saints beating the Bucks really bad, 38-3. The Saints actually now swept the Bucks all this season. Drew Brees had 222 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Tom Brady, 209 yards passing, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This was arguably Tom Brady's worst game of his career. The Saints have now won 5 straight and now lead the NFC South. And both teams are now 6-2. For Monday Night Football, it was the Patriots beating the Jets 30-27. Cam Newton, 274 yards passing, no touchdowns or interceptions, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Jacoby Myers was that receiver we've been waiting to see. The Patriots needed a receiver to step up big, and that guy was Jacoby Myers. 12 receptions, 169 yards. Joe Flacco looked like the old Ravens vintage Joe Flacco with 262 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception that came at a crucial time. It seems like the Pats wanted to lose so they can tank for Trevor Lawrence because everyone thinks that's who the Jets are going to tank for. So Bill Belichick is that evil genius to try to have the Jets beat him twice so the Pats could get the better pick. But the Jets are elite at tanking. They know this game way too well, and this is something that they will outsmart Belichick and the Patriots with. So now the Patriots are 3-5, and the Jets are 0-9. They have not gotten a win yet this season. So that concludes for today's episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like, comment, share, do anything to promote this page. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day.